Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we just did a totally blind head-to-head between Knob Creek with and without water. Stay tuned to see how it shook out. You might be surprised. We certainly were.
Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
We're not professional whiskey tasters. We're regular people, just like you probably. And if you're a professional taster watching this, then...
Sorry?
Set the bar low. But what we're going to do is we're going to randomly select one of these pairs from our blind sample pool. We're going to taste through it. You're going to see us work through that process, eventually give it a score. And we're going on the taste, the price and the availability, and whether we would buy it again or not. So you'll get to see us work through all that, as well as what happens when we do the reveal. So let's run a randomizer and see what number. 9. So these are rows of 9. So it's going to be this pair for our pours today. Let's get into glass 1.
This is probably the first time I'm getting like a maple syrup smell.
Really?
Off the bat, yeah.
I'm getting like a really classic bourbon nose. There's a little bit of that like brown sugar caramel in there that I think can be maple syrupy as well.
Maybe a brown sugar is what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a fruity sweetness too, like a red apple. Interesting. All right, let's get into the taste.
Ooh, packs a little wallop.
It does. It's our first drink of the day.
Yeah.
So it's not too high a proof.
No, I need a second one though.
No, but it's got... The proof isn't very high, but the flavor is concentrated. That's my first... The first thing that's hitting me is how concentrated the flavor is, like right on the middle of the tongue.
Yep.
Kind of the front to middle of the tongue.
And kind of up my nose, too.
Fruity. You know, it's more on the fruity side on the palate.
And it has like a little bit of a finish. Like I still feel it right here.
It drinks about 100 proof or so. It feels like to me right now. Maybe that'll change a little bit, but... You know, you're getting that concentrated flavor that you'd get in like a bottled and bond product. It's still got that fruity sweetness. It does have kind of a sharp finish on it, but it does kind of hang around kind of medium wise. It's good glass. Yeah. Interesting. All right, let's get into glass 2.
All right. Ooh, I feel like this smells more astringent.
Yeah, it doesn't smell as dark and rich as this does, which this wasn't really dark and rich. It was more fruity, but it had some of those more dark and rich notes. This is just more on the lighter side. Interesting. Okay, let's get into it.
Smells like nail polish remover. Tastes like a bale of hay.
Ooh. Yeah, it does have an earthy note to it. What strikes me about this is it comes in softer on the palate. Glass 1 was more sweet up front, and then it had the kind of kick on the sharp finish. This comes in soft on the front of the palate, and then swells a little bit. Not too much. It drinks about the same as glass 1 as far as heat goes.
I feel like glass 1 was a little bit hotter to me, than this one.
I think that's because glass 1 tastes like it has more flavor.
Maybe.
Whereas glass 2 is a little bit more flat on the palate. It just sits a little bit more flat, but it comes in soft on the front, and then the flavor kind of ramps up on the mid to the back of the tongue, but not overwhelmingly so.
To me, the glass 2 definitely drinks easier, smoother, whatever you want to say, whatever you don't want to say. Like, I see what you mean now when you say like you like something that has a long finish, because this just seems to fall flat. Yeah,
the finish for me is okay. It's more of that faint but lingering finish, but it's the experience before the finish that where it just comes in kind of really soft and flat on the palate, whereas glass 1 seems to have a little bit more going on right now. But we're going to take some time, we're going to compare these, and we'll be back with more of our full tasting thoughts after this. All right, after spending some time with these, where you at? What you thinking? Let's start with glass 1.
Glass 1. So I gave glass 1 on the nose, I gave it 2 thumbs up. Because this one morphed for me. Like, as I smelled it more, it just got better and better on the nose.
Yeah.
And I was originally going to give it 1 thumbs up. And then I was like, it just kept getting better. So
it did.
It gets 2 thumbs up for nose. For flavor, it gets a thumbs up. And for the overall experience, it gets a thumbs up.
For me, glass 1 got thumbs up on the nose. I said it was syrup over pancakes. It really did hit me with more fruity sweetness in the first impressions. But as it sat, it just got more and more syrupy.
On the nose?
It was really nice. So thumbs up on the nose. On the flavors, thumbs up. I put brown sugar and appley sweetness. It was really, really good on the flavors, and then on the experience, I gave it a thumbs up. I said it was spicy and it had a nice sweet oak kick. Oak kick, like those K's
Oak
back to back
kick.
are a little, it's like enunciation.
Oak kick.
Oak kick. It's nice to say. Try it at home right now.
Ready? Go.
But it's thumbs up across the board for me for glass 1. It was a really enjoyable pour.
Yeah.
Immediately off first impressions, I thought it was going to be thumbs up across the board. And it is a firm, strong thumbs up across the board for me. Let's get into glass 2. Where are you at?
All right, so glass 2 also got 2 thumbs up on nose for me.
Oh, wow.
Because the same thing happened. As I smelled it more, as it opened up, it just got better and better. And it had like a tea smell to it to me, which I love. When things smell like sweet tea, I love it. So 2 thumbs up for that. It got just okay on flavor. And let me tell you why.
Interesting.
Because I think it's because I had it right after I had glass 1.
Yeah.
And I think if I had had this in isolation, it would have gotten a thumbs up. But because I had it next compared to glass 1.
Yeah, in comparison.
Yeah, it got just okay. I felt like after I had tasted it a few times, it kind of almost had like a soda pop effervescence maybe.
I can see that, yeah.
And I say soda pop to like not offend anyone because we're in the South, we say Coke.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, it's pop, and like on the West Coast,
does anybody say
it's
soda pop?
Old people.
Okay.
And I'm old,
us.
so it's fine. But it had like a soda pop effervescence, which was kind of cool, but it gets just okay. And then on the experience, it does get a thumbs up because it was enjoyable.
Glass 2 for me gets a thumbs up on the nose. My notes are Lipton and Luden's. It's Luden's cherry cough drops. It's almost like somebody dropped a Luden's a Luden's cherry cough drop into a glass of Lipton's tea and then picked it out and put it in their mouth. But that's what it smells like. It's not what it tastes like.
Correct.
I lost the tea note on the palate.
Same.
And the only thing that came through was like a cherry oak note. So I give it thumbs up on the flavor. I really like the flavor. It was good.
Yeah.
Not much more to say than that. And then on the experience, I gave it a thumbs up. I said it was a lingering and kind of drying oak especially compared to the first glass. But even in a vacuum, when I took some time to clear my palate and start with glass 2, there was still that drying element. Actually, both of these got substantially better in the glass as they sat here for a while.
Same for me.
And they kind of morphed. And especially after taking some time to clear my palate and starting with glass 2, I thought originally that glass 1 was going to be the runaway winner. But going with glass 2 first, there's a lot of subtleties and nuance to the experience in glass 2 that was really good. So both of these for me are firm 2 thumbs up across the board. Sounds like by your scores.
1 thumbs up.
Sorry, yeah, 1 thumbs up across the board. But it sounds like from your experience that glass 1 was your slight preference.
Slight preference, and I think only because I had it first, if I'm being honest. I think
it just made that good first impression on you.
Yeah.
Which you guys saw in the first impressions, like we do take time to go back and forth, but that first impression, if it really bowls you over as being that much better,
it kind of sticks with you.
It can kind of stick with you. For me, glass 1 was the preference off of the first impressions, but as I took time with them, I honestly couldn't pick a favorite. These are both really good pours. They're just good in different ways.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them for different reasons. And if you force me to pick another pour right now, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably just order 1 more of each.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I probably would pick glass 1 to have another pour of if I'm paying like my money dollars for it. But I wouldn't be mad if someone was like, oh, we only have glass 2.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, honestly, right now, if you force me into that scenario, which is what I play out in my head, like, okay, in a blind, if I had to have 1 more pour of these right now and I could only get 1, which one would it be? I honestly would probably lean towards glass 2. But it's only because it's honestly a little bit more tame. I'm not wanting to be bowled over right now.
Which is interesting.
And I typically do like being bowled over, but there's enough complexity in glass 2 that I am really enjoying it. However, I think I kind of do slightly prefer the flavor profile of glass 1. So anyways, this is a coin toss. This is a very interesting head-to-head. I can't wait to find out what these are.
Let's do it.
Let's get into that right now. We're going to find out price first, and then we'll find out what we're drinking. All right, let's find out how much these cost first. So glass 1 is number 47. and glass 2 is number 46.
We're going way down the list. Okay, 47.
47 glass 1.
$50.
I'm very happy with that. That's a great pour for $50. What about glass 2?
$50.
Great pour for $50.
If one of these is even rare breed, I'm gonna lose my mind. This always seems to happen if we get rare breed ones.
Rare breed's kind of our yardstick bourbon, and it's in a lot of our blind head-to-heads. Let's find out what they are.
All right.
I don't think they are. I don't think the proof's that high.
I'm nervous.
Glass
47.
1, 47.
This can't be right. Knob Creek single barrel with water.
Oh, wow.
Glass 1.
So
And
that means glass 46, if it's
Knob
notated.
Creek single barrel with no water. So the same one's just with water.
These are 120 proof?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And the one with water tasted less watered down.
Wow. I did almost get a nutty note on glass 2, but it didn't stick around. It was just way more on the cherry side. Interesting.
What?
So wait, glass 1 is the one with water?
That's
Wow. And it drank
glass 1, 47.
Yeah. And it honestly, they definitely changed it. And this is a 2-ounce sample jar, and I put 5 drops of water in there. So you're looking at like 2.5 drops of water
Per ounce.
per
Yeah.
ounce. So in like a 2-ounce pour, it would be like 5 drops of water.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, the proof didn't seem very different on these.
No.
Definitely, honestly, this one got a little sharper on the finish in glass 1, but then glass 2, it was like more on the front of the palate, soft, and then it got more intense on the back end, whereas glass 1 was more intense on the front side.
Yeah.
But then it did get a little sharp, but the finish wasn't as long. That makes sense that the finish wasn't as long on glass 1 with the water.
See, I felt like the finish was long on glass 1, and it wasn't on glass 2.
I felt like glass 2 lingered more, but there was a sharpness that hit you, like a kick, that oaky kick on glass 1, and then it kind of tapered off, whereas glass 2 wasn't to the same level of that kick, but it sustained a little longer. This was a very nuanced
Wow.
back-to-back,
I'm
and
shocked.
I'm not surprised. I had a really tough time picking which one I preferred.
Because they were the same thing.
Because they were the exact same thing. So, yeah, this is very, very interesting.
Yeah. Are you sure you didn't mix them up?
I'm 100% sure. 100%.
Because this one tasted like it had water in it.
100%,
This one
100% sure.
tasted more like
100%
flavorful.
100% sure.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked these are 120 proof.
They
That's
don't
what I'm
drink
most shocked
like
about.
it.
No, they don't at all. And there's times where this does hit me hard, and this is our first pour.
Of the whole week. I haven't had anything this week.
So for retail and consumer metrics here, I mean, it's the same bottle.
Yeah.
So it's $50. Knob Creek 120 proof single barrel is a standard shelf product. These are store picks. So this exact store pick isn't available anymore, but there's always Knob Creek 120 proof store picks in the market.
Okay.
We say this all the time with single barrels. The likelihood that this is the absolute best single barrel store pick is very unlikely, just like it's very unlikely that this is the worst. They're more likely to just be a little different. With that said, where are you at on retail and consumer metrics here? Price and availability is the retail metric. What do you think?
All right. Retail score, $50. 2 thumbs up. Like, availability, 2 thumbs up. Like, it's 2 thumbs up because $50 for me is like my yardstick. We call
That's
it.
your happy place.
That's my happy place.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable paying $50. You get higher than $50, I get a little like, ooh.
Yeah.
And lower than $50 is fine too. $50. So
Right.
2 thumbs up.
And then consumer, would you buy it again or not?
Absolutely. For $50.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. All right. For me, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up on retail because I think the price and availability is great. Again, obviously single barrel. What are you going to do? But these are super fun to play around with. Now, would I buy it again or not for the consumer? Thumbs up. I would. I'm going to continue to buy these. I absolutely love having at least one of these picks around, if not more. It's very rare that I buy a backup. If I would continually do that, I'd probably give it 2 thumbs up. But for me, it's just hitting me as a thumbs up, and I put an initial mark before I found out what it was. I always do that next to consumer score. Would I buy this again? Before finding out what it costs and what I find out what it is, and I put it next to yes, thumbs up. So I'm going to stick with that. Thumbs up. Glass 2, retail and consumer scores. Where are you at?
Same.
It's the same product.
Two thumbs up for retail,
Yeah.
2 thumbs up for consumer.
Why are we doing this?
You buy the bottle, and then I liked the one that had water in it, so
Yeah.
I'll just add water. So.
And this is typical. Like, I tend to like stuff just straight up. And then if one of us likes it with water, it is usually you. But sometimes you don't.
Sometimes I don't.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't. Typically, I don't even like to bother with water at all because it typically tends to lead to a pour that I only like as much or less.
I like it with ice usually because then the ice melts.
That's
it's slow. It's like a changing. It's like a morphing butterfly into or caterpillar into a butterfly.
Yeah, and this is actually a good point right now to note because some people in the comments will be like, try it with a couple of drops of water. I tend to be a little lazy, so I don't like to add water.
Okay.
I'm a little lazy sipper, so I just don't want to have to bother with that. And I've had enough glasses ruined by adding water that I like less. So I just don't, tend to bother with it. All right, let's get into our real world scores.
We get our real world score by adding up the thumbs you see on the screen. Thumbs equal points.
Our real world scores are more of a bell curve than your typical 10-point scoring system, but it is a 10-point scoring system. The only difference is when you're tasting things totally blind, what we found out through 100+ blind tastings now is that most things tend to fall in that middle 4 to 6 point category. And if you don't know what you're drinking and you don't know you're supposed to like it and you don't have all these other influencing factors, then that's where most things fall. Now, if it's outside of that, on the high or low end, the more or less exceptional that it comes across to us. Let's get into glass 1, real world score for Knob Creek with water.
I am shocked, but it gets an 8 out of 10.
That is a massively high score for you.
That is a high score for me because my favorite whiskeys have not gotten that high, I don't think.
7 or 8 is about as high as you get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That is very interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, it got a 6.
Wow.
Which is right on the top end of that midpoint range. And honestly, I did kind of hem and haw on maybe giving 2 thumbs up in a couple of the tasting categories. But ultimately, I decided to go with my gut. I'm also feeling a little tired today, which your mood can even affect how you feel about whiskey.
Yeah.
I know for a fact this bottle has been in prior head-to-heads and has gotten higher scores for me, which is why it's interesting for us to continue to enter in the same bottles over time and see if they continue to score the same. Nonetheless, let's get into glass 2.
Okay.
Where are you at?
Pretty close.
Knob Creek without water.
7.5 out of 10. Like, very close.
Yeah.
So I like it overall.
You said you had a slight preference for glass 1.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. For me, glass 2, Knob Creek without water, got a 6 as well, which I said these were a flip of the coin for me.
Yep.
No surprise there. So what have we learned by doing this?
I like Knob Creek. That's what I learned.
I like Knob Creek too.
I didn't know that.
With or without water.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just different. It's not necessarily better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
But it is different enough that they didn't strike me as the exact same pour.
Same.
That's for sure.
Same.
And this is not a small amount of water. It's not 2 drops, but it's also not like a cap full of water from a water bottle. So 5 drops of water, what that changes on an ounce of whiskey, I don't know proof-wise, but they didn't even strike me as being very different in proofs. It was just a different experience. So they both struck me, I thought, 100 proof.
Yeah.
So this is wild. Definitely play with I was gonna say ice. Definitely play with water in your whiskey.
Yeah.
And ice in your whiskey too, for that matter. Yeah. Have a ball. Knock yourself out. Since these are the exact same thing, we're really speaking to who Knob Creek 120 proof is for.
Yeah.
So who is Knob Creek 120 proof for?
I don't know. Like, I feel that it drinks less proofy than 120 proof.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say these are beginner whiskeys.
It's definitely not a beginner whiskey.
But if you're like a intermediate beginner and up, I'd say that they would be for you.
I think so. Some of these Knob Creek picks definitely pack a wallop, and this exact bottle has really packed a punch for us and had like a really long chocolatey note on the back end sometimes. really strong oak note on it. So I got a lot of the oak tonight. I didn't get much of the chocolate tonight, but that could just be the difference in the day. But I would definitely say that if you're wanting to gravitate towards higher proof whiskey, dip your toes in those waters.
This would be a good one to try if you're interested in higher proof, if you haven't done higher proof whiskeys before. Yeah.
Primarily because it's readily available and because it's only $50. It's really hard to beat the value proposition that is Knob Creek Single Barrel. All right, that's it for this week, guys. If you like head-to-heads like this, you can catch them on the channel here every Thursday. And if you want to support what we're doing here on the channel, you can do so via the Patreon link in our video description below. That's what it's called.
That's what it's
our
called.
bio below. It's not our bio. It's
Link
our video
bio.
description. So that's down there. Check it out if you want to see what we're doing here. You can get sample jars. You can get like a whole blind tasting kit. We walk through it with you, kind of tailor the experience to you. It's a ton of fun for us. It's a ton of fun for you, or at least we try to make it. That's our goal, to make it specifically for you.
Yep.
Check it out down there. You can also find the dates to our next live stream down there as well. We always have some kind of fun concept or something around our live streams to make it a little bit of an event, since we can only do it once a month. And then we also have like a little bit of a virtual happy hour hangout after that.
The live streams are awesome, so you should join us. Thank you for watching today's video. If you liked this, or if you tried Knob Creek with water before, let me know in the comments below if you liked it better than without water. I'm curious. Also, don't forget to subscribe. We know some of you aren't subscribed. Shame, shame, shame. I know your name. And hit that like button. Give it a thumbs up. We know you can do it.
Until next week, guys. Cheers. Till next week, guys. That glass is further away than I think it is. All right, let's try it one more time. No, you were over to the side.
Okay, I'm done.
Till next week, guys.
Stop. Okay.
This is a disaster.
I got it. I got it. We're good. Okay, let's go.
Till next week, guys.
Cheers. Got him.
There's some bloopers. What's wrong with us?
I don't know. Let's do another one.